Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. It's Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, 9:31 in the morning, and here we are in the boardroom of the Community Center. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular Golden Rain Foundation Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. We do have a quorum present, and I would ask Director Bada to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Good morning, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Are there any additional members of the media present? We are being recorded as usual. And see no volunteers saying they're media. I assume not. The approval of the agenda is the next item on our list, and I have some changes to make to it. First of all, we will not have Supervisor Katrina Foley here this morning with us. She was originally scheduled to address us in this meeting, but other responsibilities have drawn her away. However, we're going to reschedule her perhaps in a December meeting, and we're working to get her back to talk about Orange County issues, which are, of course, impactful on our community in a big way. Also, I would add to our agenda, under new business, item 12D, consideration of a resolution to a proposal to defund a capital item, the $300,000 gate automation item that was allocated in the budget. So with that, do I have approval of an amended agenda? Move second. Any objections? Motion carries. Thank you. May I please ask for approval of minutes of former meetings? July 14th, August 4th, September 2nd, and September 18th. Are there any changes? Yes, Martin?
I'll make a motion to accept the...
Okay, that is submitted. Second. Egon? Any objections? Former meeting minutes are approved. Report of the chair. Well, as I say, we do not have Katrina Foley here with us today, unfortunately, but we do have a new board member, and that is Jim Nadeau, who is seated with us in the horseshoe today, and he is our new representative, our delegate from Mutual 50 from the Towers. So welcome, Jim, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you. As you know, the meetings that we hold are open meetings to everyone who is a member in the community. And we often have topics that are difficult to discuss, emotional at times, and it's part of our responsibility to be respectful to each other at all times, that we want to be orderly, we want to be appropriate in our behavior, and on topic. So I would just put that out to you as a way that we operate in this board. And I would like to also address the concerns about gate automation and the future of our gate ambassadors. I know a number of you are here because of that topic and held a number of meetings privately in order to discuss it ahead of time. To be clear, gate automation was only a concept discussed by the Security and Community Access Committee as part of a potential long-range plan. Approved capital items remain conceptual until that item is designed and contracted. It's just all a lot of planning, research, talking, discussing, until something is actually designed and under contract. As part of the annual capital budget process, Staff and committees often explore a variety of concepts. Some move forward for further study, and many do not. These early discussions are a normal part of responsible long-term planning. They're valid, and they do not represent an approved project. They're just discussion items. That's part of our financial responsibility to you, to always be looking ahead. At today's meeting, the board will vote on a resolution to defund the $300,000 that had been set aside in the 2026 capital plan for a possible gate automation pilot. The board remains fully committed to maintaining strong community security and to exercising careful fiscal stewardship in every decision that we make. And with that, we will move on to the CEO report, item 7 on the agenda. Siobhan?
Thank you, President Bach. Honorable members, it's my privilege this morning to provide some key updates to you. I'm going to wait for the slides to come up on the screen. I'm going to start with a reminder, please, to enroll in the Southern California Edison power outage alerts. As many residents experienced on Saturday evening, power outages can occur at any time. VMS strongly encourages all residents, especially those who rely on electricity for medical equipment, to register with Southern California Edison for outage alerts and updates. You can do this by logging into your SCE account to enroll in outage alerts via email or text, or visit sce.com/outage center/outage alerts. You can view current outages and check maintenance schedules on the SCE Outage Center map. You can also learn how to prepare for outages. And for questions or concerns or for more information, you're encouraged to contact SCE Customer Service at 800-655-4555 or visit sce.com. Next, I'd like to touch on workplace and community safety. Our safety team recently reinforced safety by making sure life-saving equipment is readily available for residents and staff. The safety team inspected all automated external defibrillators, known as AEDs, to ensure full operation and charged batteries, and installed a new AED at the pickleball courts. In terms of the Ting Fiber project update, official installations began on September 22nd in Node 11. This is the Avenida Sevilla, Cali, Aragon area. 400 plus have been installed, with users experiencing speeds up to 2,000 megabytes per second up and down. Node 9 installations begin on October 8th, starting with building 330 in the Avenida Sevilla Castilla area. And I do want to mention that beta installs are already underway in that area, with regular installs beginning next Monday, which is October 13th. Coyotes are a big topic in our community. I wanted to draw your attention to collaboration between board leadership, VMS, the Laguna Woods City Council, city staff, and Laguna Beach Animal Services. We continue to collaborate on coyotes in our community. There was a recent meeting held on Monday, September 29th with all these parties. One way the city and Animal Services is taking action is by clarifying who to contact and when to improve awareness and strengthen sightings through use of a database which can help Animal Services focus their response. Please call 911 if you or someone else is in imminent danger or under attack. You may call Animal Services Dispatch at 949-497-0701 if you observe off-leash dogs, dogs on leashes longer than 6 feet, or anyone actively feeding wildlife. Please call the new Coyote Hotline, 949-639-0501 for coyote sightings, close encounters, pet food left outdoors, fallen fruit, or potential habitats. I wanted to share a project that VMS recently completed that enhances services and reduces costs in our community. This is called the POTS Migration Program. POTS stands for Plain Old Telephone System. A major communications upgrade was completed at the beginning of October. VMS migrated all remaining analog or POTS telephone lines to a modern dual-carrier cellular system using AT&T and Verizon. This included Phase 1, which transitioned lines at the clubhouses, community center, maintenance yard, and golf facilities. And Phase 2 transitioned all fire alarm panels and 87 elevators to this new system. The cost savings includes Phase 1, reduced monthly costs from $11,500 to $4,800, and Phase 2 is going to save approximately $12,400 per year, and yet we have better redundant service. The Maintenance and Construction Department is working on Shepherd's Crook fence installations. United and Third Mutual are replacing approximately 970 linear feet of barbed wire with decorative Shepherd's Crook. This is happening on El Toro Road for United and Santa Maria Avenue in Third Mutual. The mutuals are continuing their multi-year effort to replace approximately 7.5 miles of barbed wire fencing across the village. We would also like to share a couple announcements about recreation facilities. The Pool 4 hot pool will be closed on October 13th for heater replacement and will open the next day. The Clubhouse 4 woodshop is closed today and tomorrow for dust collection system control board replacement. On September 29th, VMS honored employees marking decades of service to our community. This is the Employee Awards Ceremony, and I'm hoping you will join me today in giving sincere thanks to those employees for their dedication, commitment, and support. Those recognized include employees with 20 years of service. I'm not going to read all the names on the screen before you, but if you happen to interact with one of these employees, please give them your appreciation. Moving on to the next slide, these employees have been here 25 years. This is David Gomez, an irrigation foreman, and Juan Hernandez, a maintenance carpenter technician. Serving our community for 35 years, Miguel Carmenina, fleet supervisor, and Lauro Robles, irrigation technician. On the next slide, we have two employees who have been here for 40 years serving our community. Leonardo Lopez, a tree foreman, and John Ortiz, a senior maintenance plumber. Paul Ortiz, who's heading our Tang Fiber project, just celebrated 45 years of service to the community. He's our Assistant General Services Director and Broadband General Manager. And most spectacularly, Felipe Ortega, a mechanical shop foreman, just celebrated 55 years of service to our community.
Wow, you can't beat that for a grand finale, can you? 55 years. Wow. Yeah, the community was still only partially, very small, partially built when he started. So that is truly, truly remarkable. Thank you, Siobhan. Now we'll move into the open forum section of our meeting, 3 minutes per speaker. At this time, members only may address the Board of Directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this Board of Directors. Board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendees. No rude or threatening comments. Members may attend the meeting by joining Zoom link or calling in or emailing a message to the secretaries who will read it. Do we have some people who would like to speak, Paul?
Yes, we have quite a few speakers. Our first speaker is Juanita Skillman.
Good morning.
Good morning, Juanita.
I'm here today to talk to you about the library. And wouldn't you know, I lost my bear. Just wanted to let you know that the library in September served over 2,100, let's get my commas in there right, people. And we added 40 new people to our database. Now, everybody in the village is a member of GRF and can be and is eligible to use our library. But we have our own database. We have a library bibliothèque database. And therefore, we ask that anytime you come in to use the library, you give us your resident card, and we take that information and put it into our database so that every time you come into the library to check something out or use it, your resident card then becomes your library card. And we did sign up 39 new members. Probably one of the things that very few people know about our library is that we have a children's section. So if you have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whatever, visiting, bring them by. We have children's books, children's DVDs, children's puzzles and games, lots of things to help them with interest. So the library is not just for us. But by the same token, as opposed to, say, the public library, we concentrate on our demographic. We have the largest collection of large print books, which are very popular. All the DVDs, because people still like to watch the DVDs, and that's all your television series and movies, those kinds of things. And they go back to old ones if you want to be a little nostalgic. And then we have the newest ones as well. So probably one of the most used functions of our library are our puzzles. People love puzzles, and it's a great brain thing for people our age. So we have well over 1,000 puzzles that we rotate all the time for different seasons, and we encourage you to come in. Puzzles are taken out on the honor system, as are our paperback books. You bring them back when you're finished, but you don't have to check them out for 2 weeks like you do our hard copy books. So I look forward to seeing you all at the library.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Mike Campbell.
I'm here on behalf of Hilda Rose. She's not here. She's medically disposed. The packet you have is self-explanatory. If you look at the first photo, on July 5th, they started plumbing work outside. 90 days later, the picture you see is still the status when it was done. She still doesn't have a water heater enclosure. The real problem was it took 22 days to do the asbestos work inside. They opened the wall on July 5th. On the 15th, the asbestos company arrived and put up a barrier, told her to move upstairs. They closed the kitchen, the bathroom, dining room. She was not notified. She lost her life support system. 20 days later, they came out to do the work. It took 3 days. She was encapsulated for 22 days. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
our
this
next.
is a tragic story, and we will take action on this immediately.
Michael, you've dropped these nice brochures off here. They should really go to the people in United, but we will definitely
Yeah.
push out really hard on this, okay? Because this kind of stuff does happen from time to time, and just people are not paying attention. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Okay, thank you. Next, please.
Next speaker is Antonia Carmi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is my first time at the meeting, the first time I speak here. I've been living in the village for almost 4 years, and I love it. I think it was one of the best choices of my life. But there are some glitches here. So my topic is Ting, and the installation that I experienced. So I just saw before that there have been almost like 450 installations already. That scares me a little because my experience was not very good. The technician spoke a broken English, and he was rushing me. I didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't have enough wire because I was the last one of the day. He wanted to drill a hole in the middle of a wall because it was the closest to the wire outside. And I said, no, it should be hidden behind the bookcase. Then the hole, I mean, they make a hole that goes outside. I asked if it was going to be sealed, and he looked at me. Oh, yes, I'm going to go get the silicone. So, the thing is that, and then the other thing, he asked me to put the app on my phone. Very fast. I had to do that, put the app, and then enter all my information, choose a password, choose an address. I was able to do that, but I was thinking about older members. That some people don't even have smartphones, or they don't know how to use them. So it's just the rushing, the being unprepared, and then the most horrifying thing is that when he was finished, I went to look outside, and the wire was coming down my roof in a diagonal in front of my window. Yes. So, no protection of the wire, but not only that. I mean, it was right in front of my window. And then, I'm almost finished here, but this is not acceptable. So I called Ting, and then I spoke to my neighbor who used to be in the board. Of course, they came back the day after, they fixed the problem, but I'm wondering, all the other people that have already had the installation, how did they do it? Is there a supervisor that checks everything? I don't think so. There is not a lot of communication. Also, I asked the technician, do I have to cancel the other internet? And he said, it's up to you. Okay, so then I see last time, in the What's Up in the Village, I know I have to finish.
Yeah, quickly.
This week they said, don't cancel yet. So
Thank you, Antonia.
why not before?
Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you. We will take action on that one also. Okay. Oh, that's already been resolved, I understand. Do you wish to, quickly?
Real quickly, yeah, they came back. I showed Paul Ortiz those pictures, and yeah, he said that was a pre-wire. That was not completed. That's what he's been. That's what was shared with me. That's all I can say. But that, yeah, you don't want to cancel. And yeah, we got to get the right information to the residents regarding what to do when, as far as if they can download the app and get in a password or
Okay.
a security net.
Okay, continuing on. This is member comments.
Next speaker is Catherine Bryans.
Hi, Catherine.
Good morning. I'm Catherine Bryans with the History Center, and I'm here on their behalf. I'd like to talk to you a few things that the History Center does other than just ask you to come see us. A few years ago, a lot of walk-in traffic comes in and says, who are the architects? Who planned this community? How did they decide which buildings? Well, that's another story. Maybe you'll come in and find out the end of that. But what we did is we had an architect come in whose forte was mid-century modern, which our homes are considered. He came in, his name is Richard Dodd. He is a native Orange County architect, has several homes he's did along the coast in Laguna Beach and other businesses. But this is all driven by requests from visitors. And we had over 150 people come in for that speech, which was really wonderful. Another thing that we've done in the community is we developed a very, very strong relationship with the Moulton family and their now Moulton Museum. And we had an exhibit that over 400 people attended, hopefully not on the first night, but they did over a couple weeks coming in to see it. Many of these paintings were by her niece, Jane Barnes, and also they were unseen in the public. These were all family pictures that they brought in to show. So we've continued that relationship with the Moulton family and Jared Mathis, who's the head of the museum and also a Laguna Hills councilman now. We had another one was driven by visitors' request, and that was, what about the trees? There's so many trees. Who's naming the trees? What do we get to know about the trees? So we did something about that, all volunteer work. And we have 3 tree guides. They may be familiar or not. We still have them available because we continue printing at the History Center. And the Friendship Walk was the very first one, and it's above Clubhouse 1. And that was actually started by Mr. Cortese so that people could meet and greet each other. The other one we did, which you may be familiar with, is the 50th anniversary. It's a great read. Unfortunately, we have no more to sell. But the library has a copy that you can check out. This talks about the trees. It talks about all sorts of things in the community. It's not going to tell you why the post office agreed to the number system. That's undeniable. So we are also interviewing longtime residents, what they know about the village when they first came, and also to recommend that you get us some photos from the 1980s forward. We'd love to have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
So we actually have 6 more speakers. Next speaker is Susan Singleton.
Hi, good morning, directors, staff, and fellow residents. I'm here, first of all, thank you for defunding the gate expenditure of $300,000. I think most of us have hurt because our dues went up so much last year, and this year they're going up again. And as I look at these proposed expenditures, my heart skips a beat. But one of the things I was kind of concerned about, besides the gate, were the other factors in the security department of them needing body armor and e-bikes. And I hope you'll explain that because my neighbors and I are kind of wondering why they would need those. On the other hand, I'm very involved with disaster preparedness on Team 3 with Grace Stencil. And we've looked at a couple clubhouses. And what I don't see here is any kind of money that would go to supply the medicine cabinets. And as some of you know, and I know you've heard many times, we don't have access to those anymore since security's changed the locks. But the last time we looked, the bandages are so old and in such bad shape, they crumble in your hand. They're not going to be of any use. The water that is stored in Clubhouse 3 expired in 2016.
Oh.
So I don't think residents are aware of that, but they should be. So I'm hoping that maybe as you go through some of these, you'll consider funding some of those medicine supply cabinets and giving access to Grace and the medical assistants who will need those. Our great shakeout, or it was called the shakedown the other day, and it humorously at the Disaster Task Force Committee meeting. But I hope some of you come and attend, and maybe you can kind of see what's going on and how we do need some of your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Ann Beltran.
morning, everyone. My name is Ann Beltran. I live at 8540 Ronda Mendoza. I'm here today to represent the Environment Committee of Concerned Citizens of Laguna Woods. And the request that we have is that we be able to enter into an exploratory conversation with either board members or with VMS about the possibility of some kind of collaboration or sponsorship regarding next year's Earth Day, April 2026. And we're moved by two separate things. One is that we saw the success of the Unity Festival and what some great support from the administration can do to really bring the event before people in the village. And we've also, seen how well the Bonanza event goes in Clubhouse 4, and been a little jealous of that. The other thing is that in our Environment Committee, we, over the last 4 years, have built a really terrific event, I think, and we get several hundred people who come to it, and we have a great representation of VMS and the boards. So last year was the first year we had board members from all the mutuals there. We have always had wonderful participation from the landscaping department, but last year we had maintenance and construction also. And then El Toro Water District comes and the firefighters. So there's a whole clump of tables that relates to residents turning out and being able to get questions answered just on a one-on-one basis. So that's really good about it. And then there's like another, say, 15 tables or so that are our best attempt to reach out to all the local environmental nonprofits and to get their representation. There's also other clubs involved, so there's definitely some group synergy here with the Garden Club and the Garden Center people. And then we try to offer a little entertainment and some modest refreshments, but we have an extremely modest budget. So a lot of that is donated. Last year we had approximately 40 volunteers who supported the event. So we think we have something to bring to the table to create another kind of annual event on the VMS GRF calendar. And we don't know what's possible. We just want to talk to people and see what we can find out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Next speaker is Diane Phelps.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Diane.
I am here as president of the Village Community Fund, also known as VCF. It's a charitable organization that provides support for programs, services, and facilities that enrich the lives of older adults in Laguna Woods. And donations made to it are tax deductible. So if you go to our website, villagecommunityfund.org, you'll see that we have about 10 active fundraising campaigns with Laguna Woods Village clubs that you can donate to, and they include the Photo Lab Modernization Project. The Camera Club is raising over $20,000 to replace the outdated secondhand lab equipment they have with state-of-the-art equipment and software to establish a modern photo lab. The photo lab is open to all Laguna Woods residents. The Fund the Films project is the Video Club. They're raising funds to cover production costs incurred in the making of their short films and to recruit and train crew members for a new program they have called the Film Scenes Project, in which they're going to produce the same short scene in different genres, such as comedy, romance, and horror. Their films are available to all Laguna residents to enjoy. The Community Bridge Builders is raising funds to support events throughout the year that promote respect, understanding, and unity among all residents. Their next event is the World Through Dance, which will be held on November 6th. This and other events are open to all Laguna Woods residents. Help the Herd, so far they have raised over $50,000 to support the care of GRF-owned horses and to upgrade the Equestrian Center facility. The Equestrian Center facility and GRF-owned horses are accessible to all Laguna Woods residents. So if you'd like to make a donation to the fundraising campaigns I mentioned or to any of the others we have, please visit our website, villagecommunityfund.org. You can use any of the donate buttons to be directed to PayPal, where you can select which of the fundraising campaigns you want to make your donation to. The website also has directions on how to Zelle us money or mail us a donation. On the other hand, if you're a club that's interested in our help raising funds, you can visit the website or give us a call at 949-467-1030 or send us an email. We're at villagecommunityfund@gmail.com. Lastly, just to be clear, we are not the foundation whose mission is to help individuals who are experiencing financial issues. We're a separate entity with a different mission. And if you haven't made a donation recently, give it a try. It's very rewarding. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Diane.
So we actually have 4 more speakers. Next one's Marilyn Jeffries.
Good morning. I'm Marilyn
morning.
Jeffries, 4-year resident here and selling properties in Laguna Woods for over 20. So I've seen lots of changes, and I love it here. I think it's an incredible community. Although I have one concern and a question for you after I express my concern. Selling properties and being a realtor, I've sold properties all over the area here, and there's many communities here that have that don't have gate guards. They just have the open and shut thing. And I can tell you from being in many of those that there are people that will pull up behind me. I have a code because the listing agent gave me the code to get into the property, and I will see people pulling up behind me, waiting for that gate open for cars to come through. And I've witnessed this, and since I've lived here over the last 4 years, what I do is I pull to the side, and I do not allow that to happen. I'm not going to be part of that. And to see that here is why I'm here today and why I'm expressing this concern, because the people there, and I know many of them, I've sold properties to these people in these areas, what they do is they have a code, all the things that we've expressed here about that. They have a code, so when they want somebody to come in, they give out the code. Those people now have the code. They may have a delivery. Those people have a code. So that there is no safety involved for us. That is one of the main reasons I moved here from a condo on the beach in Long Beach. I moved here because of safety. I only have 20% hearing, and that's a concern for me. And this whole gate situation, maybe long term, maybe it'll save money, but I can tell you the problems over there. I could give you a list of names from all of these surrounding properties that absolutely do not feel safe, have had home invasions, have had property burglaries, and all kinds of other things because unknown people have gotten a code, were able to get in, and they do whatever they're going to do. So that's my concern. And my question is, have there been studies prior to looking at this situation? Have there been studies about the criminal activity in the other communities around here that do not have a person at the gate? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Okay, next.
Next speaker is John Beckett.
Good morning.
Morning, John.
My wife and I purchased our manor in 2012. We were among the very first to pay GRF a trust facilities fee. At that time, GRF promised the entirety of each such fee shall be deposited into the Trust Facilities Fund reserve account. A couple of years ago, I asked to see the bank statements for that account. Evidently, GRF has no bank account with the name Trust Facilities Fund Reserve Account. Last November, GRF transferred $9 million out of the Trust Facilities Fund. I have been objecting to that transaction ever since. GRF's lawyers suggested we hire a retired Superior Court judge to mediate our dispute. Last month, I agreed to pay half the judge's fee, provided that the judge will, if necessary, make the final decision. GRF's lawyer answered, GRF is not agreeable. Nothing in the governing documents requires GRF. He's right. The code says it takes the voluntary consent of the parties. So, why should this board voluntarily consent to be bound by the decision of a retired Superior Court judge? There are many reasons for settling a dispute out of court. I'll give you three. Number one, Shakespeare called it the law's delay. My boss had a case that was in litigation for 17 years. Number two, litigation is expensive. When I was on this board, we went to court several times. On average, we had to pay lawyers $200,000 each time. Number three, going to court is stressful. One of GRF's lawyers said that GRF is going to demand a jury trial over this issue. Litigation is bad for everyone, except you know who. My offer is still open. Please reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Next speaker is Mary Huggins.
Good morning. My name
Sorry,
is Mark.
I'm going to switch Susan. You're going to be afterwards, Susan. Sorry. Go ahead, Mary.
I'm the wrong person.
No, you
I'm the
just go
right
ahead.
person. Okay. I was glad to hear about, we have a number to call if we see coyotes. That new number is great. But I need to give that number to my dog because he hears coyotes coming through the horse trail every morning. So I see a lot of coyotes. Then I wanted to mention that my neighbor lost his dog on Tuesday, and he was quite feeble, and the coyote got his dog, and he ended up in the horse trail laying down. So we lost that dog. So being that I was aware of it the next day, I followed every precaution, which I normally do, but I was super vigilant this day, and had him on a 3-foot leash. I was looking all around. I had my weapon ready, and I'm flashing it around. And this coyote came up behind me as fast as he could and just, went after my dog. But like I said, I had the weapon. So no matter what precautions you take, none of them really work if you have a really experienced coyote. So one of my recommendations was, first of all, the town hall that Jeannie ran about the coyotes, is letting people know before they buy in here that we have a coyote problem and how many have been lost in a year and how many have been attacked. The other thing is never walk 2 dogs at once, because while you're saving one, the other one's being attacked. Only 1 dog. And there should be a penalty for people that are still being out there with a 20-foot leash. It's just feeding your dog to the coyote. And also consider during high activity of the coyotes, which is right now, I take my dog off campus 3 times a day to find places where I have better vision and no coyotes. So those are just some of the things. But thank you for that number, and you'll be getting a lot of calls.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Last speaker is Susan Smallwood.
Good morning. It's all nice to see you, and thank you for all your hard work. I'm Susan Smallwood at 3456B, and 3033N is a rental now. At our new home, we have a problem with TiVo, and because of the change going on with Ting and everything else, I called 2 months ago because we've been continually having our DVR programs interrupted. I call, well, we don't have any more new little boxes for your TV because we have a main box and 4 other TVs. And I am paying the same amount, and why don't they have any little boxes to cover us until they make the big change? Second of all, regarding the coyotes, I live where I have the Laguna Preserve right behind my home. I've reported before. There is a space opening between the block wall at the very bottom and a fence of iron. Why isn't anybody closing that off? Yes, they can jump over, but let's make it harder for them to come through. I enjoy watching the coyotes when they're frolicking and hunting way out in the preserve, but I do feel bad for those who are losing their pets. I just lost my 17-year-old dog, not to a coyote, but I would have been absolutely devastated. And I know you constantly have to look around, but now they're learning to come up behind you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Is that the end of our speaker? Okay, are there any responses to these folks or to prior forum speakers? Siobhan?
Yes, we have several items that staff will look into and respond to, including the damage restoration issue, the Ting installation issues. Ms. Smallwood just spoke about a TiVo issue. We'll look into all of those and respond as quickly as possible. Thank you.
And directly to the people who
Yes,
have-
ma'am.
Yes, okay, great. Yes, Ellen?
I want to talk to Margie and Susan Smallwood. What would you think the solution would be for the coyotes? Maybe to put something up on the fence like Susan had recommended, but what other solution? I know we're not supposed to have a conversation, but what would you think the solution would be?
Well, they have these trackers for your dog. If you lose your dog, they insert things. If they could shoot these dogs with a tracker, something that wouldn't hurt them, but then we would all know if there was such an app to see where they are before we go out with our dog.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
they are so fast, so sneaky, and you can follow every rule and still, you really can't. That would be the only thing I think would actually work, but then you'd have to have people with if there was an app, with the app, and then you have to shoot on the dog. So
Thank
10
you.
years in the future, we'll.
Okay, thank you, Margie.
Susan?
I did not.
Anything?
Thank you for that question, Ellen.
Yes.
Definitely close up that hole between that space. And I recommend to homeowners who have a courtyard that they let their animals out into, that they install roller bars. Because if a coyote can jump over a 7-foot fence, that they will slip off because that roller ball will keep them from. So that's a DIY thing. We had a courtyard, and of course my pet was safe because we made sure all the plantings were right against our block wall, and we also put some planters up on tall to make sure that they did not come in because they're constantly going through our cul-de-sac. And when I drive in, I honk at them to chase them back to go to the preserve.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Can I just say one more thing to Juanita?
Yeah.
Your 20,000 was correct, but that's for up to the end of the year, up to this point. I had
Year to
the
date.
utilization, so you were right.
Yeah.
2,100 for this month and 20,000.
I want
up
to
to
answer
you.
her question.
Yeah, quickly, please.
Okay, last week, my little 10-pound Lacey and I were inside laundry room 24 in cul-de-sac 38, and one came in
Oh, my
the
goodness.
laundry room. There
Wow.
were 2 other people in there, but I was able to glance down and see. Okay, so since then, Lacey wears a full metal jacket when with the little spikes. So that, in the meantime, that's not a long-term solution, but we have to do something in the meantime. Long-term, I think we need to start talking to our state representative, Ms. Dixon, and maybe the senator, and talk to them about our particular problem and see if we can't get some special dispensation for old people. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mary. You know, Hollywood was right when they named that cartoon series Wile E. Coyote, because they are smart and they're adaptive and they spread out and they cannot be restrained. You close off one hole, they dig another. They can climb trees. I've seen them in trees going branch to branch. So it's a really very complex animal behavior problem for us. Okay, to be continued.
Yeah, I just wanted to, Cush and I got a chance to attend the meeting with the city regarding coyotes there. Yeah, they're here. You got to know how to haze. You got to you got to stand big and tall and loud. But the city will, I mean, if they're getting too aggressive, then they will implement an abatement program, which does thin out those that are getting too aggressive. You can't euthanize them. You can't relocate them. They're too smart. They come right back. So it's against the law. The other thing too is, Nancy, I want to thank you for the pictures that you sent on the Ting installation. It certainly was an ugly sight. And they definitely know the kind of work that they need to do in order to be able to make it decent to what we're expected to see. So thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to consent calendar, please.
Can I just add something to
Yeah.
Martin?
Quickly, please.
Of course.
Yeah.
Two things that we were told that people shouldn't do is avoid walking at sunrise and sundown, and carry a kind of a bell or something that is a loud noisemaker that will scare the coyotes away. So that's for your protection.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board in one motion. Is there a motion to move the one item on the consent calendar for Finance Committee, and the second one to the updated GRF Committee appointment schedule? Is there a motion to move the consent calendar? So moves. Andy, second? Second? Amnahar, thank you. All those in favor? All right. Consent calendar is moved. Unfinished business, 11A. We will take a look at item 11A, entertain a motion to approve an amendment to the member disciplinary process. This has been out on a 28-day notice. This is in conformance to our Civil Code 4360, which has now been satisfied by the month's review time. And Secretary Garthoffner, will you read the resolution, please? 11A. At least the juicy parts, if you don't want to read the whole.
It's pretty short.
Okay.
Resolution 90-25-XX, Member Disciplinary Process. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation has an equal interest and duty under law to ensure that management of the community's affairs is carried out in adherence with the provisions of the Davis-Sterling Act, and whereas the Board of Directors update members' disciplinary process to align with Civil Code 5850 as amended by Assembly Bill 130. Now therefore be it resolved, October 7th, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the updated member disciplinary process as attached to the official minutes of this meeting. Resolved further that this resolution 90-23-53 adopted September 2, 2023 is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolved further that officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. September initial notification, 28-day notification for member review comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I move this resolution.
Is there a second?
A second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All right, the motion is carried. Next, we have a motion to adopt health and safety violations written findings resolution. This too has been out for 28 days review by the community, and we are now at the final vote. And Egon, would you read the relevant parts that talks about the fact that we are fulfilling the requirements of a new state law and regarding the levels of fines?
Okay. Whereas pursuant to Civil Code Section 5850C, fines levied after July 1, 2025 may not exceed $100 per violation unless the Golden Rain Foundation Board of Directors, at their sole and reasonable discretion, the violation may be result of adverse health or safety impact of the common area or other members' property, and whereas the board must make written findings in an open meeting that certain violations create an adverse health and safety impact on GRF property or on another member's property to levy fines greater than $100 per violation, and whereas the GRF schedule of monetary penalties contains fine that exceed 100 for certain violations. Many violations involve adverse health or safety impacts to the GRF property and another member's property. Now therefore be it resolved on 7 October 2025 that the board hereby finds the following. A health and safety violation refers to any condition or omission by a member, resident, or their guests that the GRF board in its reasonable discretion determines creates a significant risk to the physical well-being or safety of healthy individuals or the integrity of the GRF property. The GRF board finds the following violations considered to be health and safety, and what we have is potential harm, we have impact to community welfare, compliance with standards and codes, relative community standards, and we resolve further that the board finds, based on the above criteria established to determine the health and safety violations, that the following violations within the GRF schedule of the monetary penalties and or schedule of traffic monetary penalties are considered health and safety. So we have any egregious criminal offense, any golf course violation, any pet restriction violation, any recreation service special violation, any nuisance harassment or abuse or intimidation, and any traffic rules. These are considered health and safety. Resolve further that the GRF board incorporates by reference schedule of monetary policies and schedule of traffic monetary penalties into these written findings and the open board minutes, and resolve further the GRF board reserves the right to amend these written findings for health and safety violations at any time, and they make the right to make specific written findings about any violation in governing documents that occur and their impact on health and safety. Resolve further, any fines or penalties levied after July 1, 2025 are not subject to the requirements of AB 130 and its amended civil code. These findings are therefore do not apply retroactively, and all fines or penalties leveled after July 1, 2025 are unaffected. And resolve further, the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. September initial notification, a 28-day notification of members' review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I offer this resolution.
Second, please. Yes, Jim?
Being new on the board, can I get this vote put off until I've had a chance to get my 2 cents worth in on this resolution?
No, this has been out on 28-day notice. You've been a member of GRF all that time, so you had time to review it if you had so desired. So that is not possible at that time. Is there a second to this? Ellen, you seconded? Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. So moved. Next is the item C, amendment to the scheduled monetary penalties. This is a much shorter one. Yes, Paul?
Are you abstaining from voting then? Are you abstaining from voting? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Resolution 90-25-XX, Schedule of Monetary Penalties. Whereas the schedule of monetary penalties is required per civil code to identify violations and potential penalties which may be imposed upon a member following a disciplinary hearing by the Board of Directors for a violation of government documents and rules and regulations by a member, co-occupant, guest, or lessee. And whereas the Board of Directors updates the monetary penalties to align with changes in Civil Code Section 5850 as amended by Assembly Bill 130, limits fines imposed to 100 per violation unless a violation meets the criteria for health and safety violation. Now therefore be it resolved October 7, 2025, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the schedule of monetary penalties as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. The September initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I offer this resolution.
Second, please. Martin, thank you, seconding. Okay, all those in favor? All right. Any abstentions or objections? Okay. All right. Thank you. Motion passes. And moving on to the last, entertain a motion to approve amendment to the Code of Ethics Policy for GRF Directors, Resolution 90-2142. September notification, 28-day has been satisfied. And Secretary Garthoffner, will you read, please? This is a short one.
Resolution 90-25-XX, amended Code of Ethics Policy for GRF Directors. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation has recognized the need to amend the Code of Ethics Policy for GRF Directors, now therefore be it resolved October 7, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the Code of Ethics Policy for GRF Directors as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further that the Resolution 90-21-42 adopted November 2, 2021 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. September initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I offer this resolution.
Second, please. Second. Okay, Martin, thank you. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Any objections or abstentions? All right. Motion passes. Now, why do we take the time to read these? It's because this meeting is being televised and recorded, and people do not have the benefit necessarily of seeing the written copy in front of them. So this is part of our official minutes that are kept forever, and that's why they get read into the record. Thank you. Okay, moving on to to new business. Item 12A, entertain a motion to approve 2026 Green Book disclaimer edits. And we have a staff report on this from Steve Hormuth. Steve, thank you.
Good morning, members of the board. So, per the request of the board, a explanation was requested to be added to, or a disclaimer was requested to be added to the Green Book. So, on the recommendation, I've included both. One that would be included as part of the business plan, with the second one being included as the capital plan. The idea behind the Green Book obviously is an explanation of your business plan, gives you all the details as well as a 30-year plan. The capital plan includes all of the upcoming projects that are approved for the upcoming year. So if I may, I'll go ahead and read the disclaimer. They're both very, very similar, just the, sorry, I'm out of breath from coming down the stairs. So disclaimer, budget expenditures outlined in board-approved business plans may be amended through supplemental funding in future open session meetings by majority vote of the board. Copies of the board-approved resolutions and supporting supplemental appropriations are available on corporate website or by request through the general manager's office. So again, the intention of this disclaimer is mostly to let the users of the Green Book know that while the budget has been approved, the future boards can make an amendment to it at any time with just a simple amendment. The only caveat I would say is there is a lot of effort that goes into the budget. So it goes, it begins basically in January and it gets approved in September. So I want to just make certain that the users are aware that the budget is a tool used by the board in order to set aside funding for various projects. So it definitely is not something that's changed on a regular basis, right? So a lot of effort went into by both the board as well as staff in its preparation. So here from a financial analysis, there is no real direct impact to the board, and to the plan itself. It's for informational purposes only. However, there is also a discussion about making a change to the capital plan, I believe, today. So, and this would be a good example of such that in the Green Book, we can put a little footnote at the bottom of the capital plan that it's been amended before it's issued. So something along those lines. And furthermore, each month when we present the financials to the board, we include a supplemental schedule. So that says, here's all the changes that have been made to the budget over the course of the year. Here's the funding change, is $100,000 for project A, B, or C, and then here's where it stands year to date. So we're always regularly reporting on that. In addition to additional funding that the board may request, we can also include something that defunds the project as well. And that's all I have for you.
Okay. All right. Discussion. Questions for Steve? Comments? Discussion on this? Yes, go ahead, Egan.
So, Steve, at the initial outset, when we talked about adding a disclaimer, the purpose was to stop the practice of once a project is in the budget, you automatically just allow people to spend the money, and nothing in your disclaimer says that. So here's what I had thought might be a disclaimer. The estimated project sums of in this business plan are presented for the purpose of establishing an assessment level of fees for the budget year 2026. They do not represent permission to spend sums on projects listed or personnel increases until these projects have been individually vetted by the board. The reason for that is there are many projects, in fact, most of the projects have not had any vetting, any background, any information that tells us that this is indeed a project that we would like to spend money on. We have not received any of those. So that's my point. So I think your disclaimer is insufficient. All you say is that we're allowed to change it. Well, we know we can change things all the time anyway. So yeah. I think there has to be something about the automatic increase. Also, the second disclaimer, I don't know exactly where that's supposed to apply, but we had planned to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the reserve study plan, which gives X number of years of life to projects, and then a project, something or other, comes up to its life, and you automatically put it in the budget. that's, again, something that we wanted to put a disclaimer on. So the disclaimer you give, or the disclaimers, don't really do anything to that effect.
Okay, comments, reactions? Andy, as treasurer, what's your reaction to this discussion? Okay. Steve, when does the Green Book get printed, actually printed?
So it goes into, basically by December is when we'll have it ready to go.
Yeah, so December. So
Correct.
we have time yet to work through these, because if we wanted to include, for example, resolution that gets passed today,
Sure.
that would change the numbers, that could be altered and put into the Green Book as a more updated and correct set of data.
Correct. So
Also-
my preference would be to leave the resolution in effect.
Right.
And then just show that we amended it on the capital plan.
Okay.
Again, we could put a footnote on it.
Gotcha.
If I may respond to Director Garth-Hoffner. So with regards to the funding, so the resolutions that were passed in September, you're right, it's exactly that. It gives staff the ability to spend the money. So with the exception of the capital line items. Right. The capital line items are governed by your purchasing policy. Anything over a certain dollar amount, as approved by the board, requires for us to bring the projects to the board. That way you can better understand what is going into it. If, for instance, you had a $200,000 project that you decided that you no longer want to pursue after staff brought to you a staff report, you absolutely could defund it on the spot then and there. However, with regards to your operating expenses, so Director Garth-Hoffner, you mentioned from a staffing perspective, in order for us to pursue maintaining the village, we have to have that funding available. So we spend, again, we begin back in January, we approve it in September. Not we, you approve it in September. All leading up into that time is the opportunity to challenge, make changes, provide different direction on service levels. But at that point, as soon as it's begun, as soon as it's approved, staff needs to begin pulling together contracts beginning in early October, in order to have them ready to go by the first of the year, in order to, again, maintain the village. So we want to keep it exactly as it is at the moment. So the resolution, the management agreement, it provides funding immediately as soon as it's approved. But once again, you can pull back at any moment with the majority vote of the board. Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't challenging the funding. I was challenging bringing on additional staff without discussion. And there are suggestions within the operating budget that staff in M&C and security be increased by X amount, and we have not talked about anything like that. So we should have that come to us before it in fact takes place. That's the only thing. The whole point of putting a disclaimer in there is to stop certain practices of the past. And that's what we need to do. And I'm glad that we will have additional time to resolve those problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Are we then not in a
Yeah.
position to further discussion? Okay, Kush?
So if we are going to defund the 300,000 that was for the gate automation, is it possible to move some of that money to another project, like I had sent an email last night?
That goes back to finance.
Yeah, that goes back to committee work and to finance.
Yeah.
So how do
So-
we?
Exactly.
Not today.
We can't
The answer is
automate-
not
That
today.
goes back to
Not here and now.
Goes back to
I
finance.
understand not
Yeah.
today, but
Yeah.
that's the question, how?
Steve?
So the proper process for creating a new project would be to come to finance and have a supplemental appropriation. Then it would be discussed amongst various committee levels and then brought before the board. So defunding a project would be one separate item. Creating a new project would be an entirely separate
It's
project.
not creating a project, just shifting that money from here to here. That's my question.
Same response. So if you're going to defund a project, that would require one approval. Creation of a new project would be another approval.
All right.
You could do it on the same day, obviously. So, but we would treat them separately as two different appropriations.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Andy?
Yeah, two things I want to talk about, and that is in the last budget process that we went through, this board actually tossed back, Egon, $6 million, something like that, in capital projects that had been approved in prior years that weren't going anywhere. And in collaboration with the staff, they looked at it, and they gave us back several, couple million, $2 million, $3 million. You said, no, we looked at it and we agree those projects probably won't happen. Let's free up the money. Now, of course, to answer your question, that money wasn't allocated at that point. It stays in the reserve. In other words, it says that there's more money in the reserve for other things that may come up. What you were talking about is a separate process where we identify a specific other use for it. But what we did last time is we freed up several $1 million back into the reserve. Personally, I'd like to see it used for solar. Other people have ideas, or we may not use it at all. But there's a couple ways to handle this. Second point I want to make is a list is a list. Form over substance. State law requires us to have lists supporting what we do. Some lists are harder than others. And I would say the capital expenditures list is a soft list. And the residents could take this to the bank. Before we spend any capital money of substance of a considerable amount that doesn't agree with policy or it really needs to be looked at, we look at it. We give you 3 different sessions to look at it. So nothing is sneaked through. And this thing about the gates, it's unfortunate. It got on the list. But being on the list doesn't mean all that much, especially when you're talking about a small capital expenditure project. It could have been 0. It was just an idea. So we're moving on beyond that. Sorry for any confusion. Thank you.
Okay.
So my last comment only in that, just because you mentioned the $6 million. So staff brought to you about $900,000 we made the determination through all the department heads that we were going to defund the projects because they were at a point of completion. The other $1 million was a program list that we still feel is valuable, but can be pushed out for about a year. So the other $4 million, coming up to your total of $6 million, those are projects that we feel are still worthwhile, but the board has chosen to not pursue at this moment. I'm sorry.
Okay. What do you need from us now?
It sounds like you're going to table this to a future meeting.
Yes, I think so. How does the board feel? Are we ready to take this up again in the future? We have time. Okay, all right. Do I have a motion to table for future discussion? Ellen, so moved? Okay, so moved. Second? Okay. I assume there's no further discussion. All those in favor? Motion carries to table for the future. Thank you. And we will see this again in November. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item 12B, entertain a motion to approve early release of 2026 capital reserve funds to purchase pool cover for Pool 1. And this is Allison. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, President Bach and members of the board. Yes, this item is to request early release of funds from the 2026 capital so we can replace a pool cover before the cold winter months. The current cover at Pool 1 is approximately, it's almost 6 years old, and it has tears that we've tried everything. We've tried sewing, gluing, taping, and the tears are just not holding. So we would like to replace that and start ordering now to help with the lead time of getting it in place when the weather gets cooler. We did underestimate our budget in the capital a bit. It's going to be about $12,615 instead of the $10,000 that was budgeted. So we would like early release of funds from the miscellaneous recreation equipment fund as well to cover the additional costs for that.
Okay. All right, questions for Allison. Go ahead, Ellen.
Do we have any photos of the Pool 1 cover?
I do not have those with me, but they were presented earlier in the capital discussion, so I can.
Yeah, remember that.
Because I went to go see it, but it's rolled up, so
Correct.
you can't see it. So I personally would like to see photos, but thank you.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none. Would you read the resolution then? Yep.
Resolution 90-25-XX, 2026 capital plan, early release of 2026 capital reserve funds for the purchase of the Pool 1 cover. Whereas Resolution 90-25-60 adopted and approved the capital reserve expenditure plan for this corporation for the year 2026, and whereas certain items should be accelerated into the current year to facilitate ordering lead times and sufficient operations. And whereas existing pool cover at Pool 1 is in poor condition and needs to be replaced, and whereas payment for the new pool cover is required prior to the end of the calendar year. Now therefore be it resolved on October 7, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorizes the early expenditures of $10,000 for the approved 2026 Capital Reserve Expenditure Plan and the 2025 for miscellaneous recreation equipment for the purchase of replacement pool cover at Pool 1 from the Recreation Equipment Fund. And resolve further, the officers and corporations are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I offer this resolution.
Second? Bush, you seconding?
Yes, but I also want to make a small amendment to the amount that was requested, 12,600 and, Allison. What was the amount, 12,600?
615.
Pardon?
Yes, 12,614, but yeah.
Yeah, so the amount be amended.
But this is for 35,000.
Yes, what is
The
please
resolution is for 35,000.
No.
So
I think that's
not
the
for the pool
release
cover.
of, if you release the full amount of it's 25,000 for the miscellaneous, and then it would be 10,000 for the pool cover that was actually budgeted.
So it's 35,000.
There are two items here, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so 10,000 for the pool cover and then 25,000 for miscellaneous recreation equipment.
Will that
Why do we
cover?
need early release for that?
Because the 2025 budget has been used up. This is an item in 26, and because of timing and weather and expected.
No, Pool 1 I understand. I
Yeah.
just don't understand why the second one was piggybacked on there.
Okay.
Sounds like something they do in Congress. Where they,
Okay. Would you please explain more about the 25,000 for miscellaneous recreation?
It's just to cover the additional, that 2,614 that is not, because we under budgeted for the pool cover. The cost is no longer under 10,000, it's over 10,000. We need additional funding to purchase the pool
well,
cover.
we can just increase that.
Okay. Okay, I think I understand it.
Well, why not just ask for the 2,600? Why 25,000?
That's fine too, if you only, but I think the funds get released, the entire funding gets released. I
All
don't
right,
think it's just
okay.
a portion of it.
It
so.
may not be spent all
Yeah,
at once.
I don't
but
know
it-
the logistics of
Correct.
what they can release, but if they can only
Yeah.
release 2,614, that's fine with me too.
All right, okay. Catherine, do you have any comments on this from a budgetary standpoint? No? Okay, all right. Do we understand this adequately for a vote? Do you want to table this?
But then it would be another month.
What is your question, Director Leonard? What is your question?
Like photos of Pool 1 and the 25,000, what's that going to be used for?
The 25,000 will not all be, eventually it'll
Oh,
be
there's
used
Steve.
to help with things that break down unexpectedly. We've used it for various miscellaneous projects that weren't budgeted for. It used to be 50,000. It was brought down to 25,000 during the
Correct.
budget process.
Right.
We need to use a chunk of that if we want to purchase this pool cover because we don't have enough budgeted for in the capital
And
item.
we have Steve Hormuth to further elucidate. Good.
Sure. We did the $25,000 just for an ease of approval. So we won't be using those funds unless necessary. For instance, if all of a sudden we get the estimate back and we have an additional $500 to spend, so that tying our hands to a specific dollar amount may cause a problem, right? So,
Okay.
but if you approve the whole $25,000, it's going to be used in 2026 anyhow. If we have to use $500 here, $1,000 in earlier, just to be more efficient, it would make more sense. But if you want to amend the motion and bring it to a lesser amount, the real goal here is to save money from a heating perspective. The longer we're using a pool cover that is ripped and torn, the more energy you're losing. So
Okay.
you're spending extra money.
Marie?
Call for a question.
Sorry? Call question. All right. All right. All those in favor? Okay.
Oh, in favor of what?
The resolution is stated.
As written.
As written. As written. We understand the reason, we understand the spending categories, we understand the process, I think. It's been explained anyway. Okay, voting, we can vote on screen, okay. All right, so all those in favor or against or abstaining, vote on your screens.
Well, my screen is not.
Okay. All right. Okay, how's it going?
What do we have, 5 and 5?
We have Gary missing today, so there'll be a maximum of 10 votes. And
I think it's 9 votes. I don't think Brad's on Zoom.
oh, Brad isn't here either. Okay, yeah, he's also excused. Okay, all right. So it's 5-4, and motion carries. Yes, Manhar.
Yeah, I have a question about the when we went to that pool 1 electrical room, which was in basket case. What happened to that?
Oh, that's another issue. We'll take that up.
Why don't we use this $25,000 to pay for that?
Not the same category.
This is, this is a separate category of expenditure, capital expenditure, and it's not, what you're asking is not appropriate to the subject on the table right now.
Okay. Not on the agenda.
Right, it's a non-agenda item for today. But thank you for bringing that up. It's an important one. All right, moving on to the next, we have item C, the motion to authorize early release of funds for the fitness center for a purchase of fitness equipment. Allison?
Yes, thank you. This is a similar item, early release of capital reserve funds to replace a treadmill that just stopped working, and unfortunately, we can no longer get replacement parts for that. On the screen, you'll see on your screens, we have a breakdown of what equipment we are looking to replace for the 2026 capital. The highlighted item is the one that is no longer functioning. I believe there are 10 cardio treadmills at the Community Fitness Center, so they're very popular. So being down one, we just would like to use the funding to get that lead time and get that equipment item ordered and replaced as soon as possible so we're not impacting service levels. I believe this item, as you can see, was last replaced in 2023. We think that, generally speaking, cardio equipment lasts from 7 to 10 years. We're budgeting for it about every 10 plus years. Some of them are older than 10 years. But this is the chart that we go by to track and log the issues. This particular item, there are just no more replacement parts for it. So.
Now, what we're looking at on the screen is the entire slated replacement schedule for 2026?
For 2026, yes.
And you're right now most concerned about the first treadmill there
Correct.
listed. And the total budget for this is the $122,000 that's allocated.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what is your intention to first start with this one treadmill that's out of service? Or the entire list?
I mean, we can do the entire list if the board wants us to proceed, but that one item, getting it replaced, it's a very popular piece of equipment.
Right.
And if we wait until we bring this all through the boards again for approval, obviously that's going to take some time. So
it's smarter not to do it piecemeal, the approval process piecemeal, to do it all at once.
Correct.
Does everybody understand that? Yeah, okay. Ellen, you have a question?
Do we have a warranty service or any type of service?
On new equipment, yes, we will have a warranty, but these items are well beyond the warranty.
Does anybody
period.
come in and service these?
Yes, they do.
Even these, the ones on the list?
Yes.
Okay, is there any type of list of how they break down or from the person that services them? Is there anything that says, oh, this one we can't get parts? Or because the True Cross treadmill, you said that is a popular one. Why? Why would it be?
All the treadmills are very popular.
But
and they're always used.
the true treadmill, the one
That's just a
highlighted.
specific type that broke down that we can no longer replace the parts.
Okay, so.
And every machine would have a service record?
Correct.
Okay, from the service agent. Martin, you had your hand up or no?
I was just wondering about the replacement column. Was that indicate the year that it was supposed to be replaced?
That's when we estimated that we would be replacing it, but if we can continue
didn't
pushing
get-
out, it did not. We can continue pushing
Did
out.
we spend the 25 budget? Was there an equipment budget for
Yes,
2025?
the 2025 budget replaced the
And we spent it
capital
all?
that we were leasing. So that was specifically for all the equipment that was leased. We purchased it, so we no longer had a lease in the operating budget.
Okay.
Yes,
I'd like to amend this. Can I do that? Amend this resolution?
Well, let's see. Let's read the resolution
Okay.
first and then see what.
Well, I've got another question.
Oh, okay.
Actually, first.
Yes, go ahead.
So we've been talking about this process a long time, and at one point we had a bunch of leased equipment, and then we got rid of that. And recently you placed quite a large number of treadmills with one particular kind. Is the one that you have on this list the same as that?
I'm not 100% sure what was leased. I don't have that list with me, but this is all the equipment that we own. So we do have a mix of leased and at one point we were pushing to go towards all lease, and then we changed that and we went back, and now we're purchasing. So we do have master lists of all this equipment going forward for the next 7 to 10 years of what we estimate that we'll be replacing based on the age. But these items here are the ones that we are looking at for 2026.
The reason I bring that up is because at that time I mentioned that a number of treadmills have a video of places to walk in the world, and they have that feature, which makes it very pleasant to use on a long, boring exercise. And I used to use it a lot, so I really appreciated those. The new machines we got have no bells and whistles. In fact, they're probably the worst display that I've seen coming out there. And I was just wondering, we should maybe get a little more information, like a picture of the thing and what the specific display features are, because we approve these things and they're not in there for 7 years, they're in there for 10, 15, 20, because that's how long they last. I mean, they're really good. And the machines we replaced are really, were better than the ones that we're getting in almost every case. And so therefore, that's why I bring up the fact that, please, we need to see some information about what we're buying. When we go out and buy our own equipment, people do all kinds of stuff like go to Consumer Reports, blah, blah, blah. And here we get nothing except a number. And I'm pointing out that the ones that we bought now, and I think there were at least 10 of them between the two gyms, are boring, boring, boring.
Okay. Has that information been brought to CAC, Allison? The exact equipment selections?
No.
You do it on the staff level?
Yes, and unfortunately, the budget doesn't go as far as we would like it to for some of the equipment with more components.
Right.
But also those components on the cardio screens break down very easily. So the more that we get, the more they break down and the more costly it is to repair them. So that's why we have a little bit of a scaled down version, A, because of budget, B, because of they don't last as long.
Gotcha. Okay. We're ready to read the resolution?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Resolution 90-25-XX, 2026 Capital Plan, request for early release of 2026 capital reserve funds for the purchase of fitness equipment. Whereas Resolution 90-25-60, adopted and approved for the capital reserve expenditure plan of this corporation for the year 2026, and whereas certain items should be accelerated into the current year in order to facilitate ordering lead times and efficient operations. And whereas community fitness center treadmills suddenly stop working, parts are no longer available for repair, and whereas this piece of equipment was scheduled for replacement in 2026, along with other pieces from the 3 fitness centers. And whereas the early release of funds is requested to facilitate ordering lead times and replace the popular and obsolete equipment with as little impact on users as possible. Now therefore, be it resolved, October 7, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorizes an early expenditure of $122,000 from the approved 2026 capital expenditure plan for the purchase of fitness equipment from the equipment fund, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I offer the resolution.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second. Okay, amendment. Ellen, did you have an amendment?
I'd like to amend the dollar amount to half of that, which would be, what, 61,000? We don't need to replace all the treadmills, so 61,000 would be able to replace some of them?
Well, this is the entire annual budget that we're
Yes.
looking at, correct, Allison? Yes.
But we
Yeah.
wanted more detail, so maybe we can get more detail when they want the other half?
Yeah, this has already been approved
Okay.
for the year. Yeah, so do you wish to, with
Yeah,
that understanding?
I'll withdraw it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, further discussion? All right, we'll call the vote then. All those in favor? I guess, are we voting on screens, Paul?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we can vote on their screens.
Motion passes.
Thank you, motion passes. Moving on, our next item is added to the agenda at the onset of this meeting, and it is the proposed defunding. It will be 12D, proposed defunding of a capital item. And I have it for you to read, Egon, if you would read it, please, the secretary.
Resolution 90-25-XX, proposed defunding of a capital item. Whereas Resolution 90-25-60 adopted and approved the capital reserve expenditure plan for this corporation for the year 2026, and whereas the approved 2026 capital plan includes $300,000 for the funding of a gate automation pilot program, and whereas after consideration, the Golden Rune Foundation recognizes the need to cancel capital reserve expenditure funding for the gate automation pilot program as follows. And item 1 is gate automation pilot, $300,000. Now therefore be it resolved October 7, 2025, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves this resolution in accordance with the described reasoning. Resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution as written. I offer this resolution.
Is there a second?
Yeah, here.
Is there a second? Oh, you were moving it, you can't second it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, is there a second to this? Andy, thank you very much. Discussion? Yes, Mark.
There's a very long list of pros and cons for gate attendants versus for automated gates. And this item, this topic needs to go back to committee to go through that list of the pros and cons and weight everything and see what possibly checks off that would possibly fit in our needs. Throwing money out there right now is not the answer. It's about research. It's about seeing what works, what would work for us, if anything. And I just wanted to make that statement that it's not dead, but it's just, there's a lot of pros and cons for and against that you have to dig into the reasons for everything. We you know, industry and businesses have been automating for centuries now. And it's just part of, it's just part of business, what it is today. Thank you.
Yeah, Marie?
Industries and business operate on a for-profit level. We don't. This year, we're having belt tightening. It is my position that we don't buy anything that we don't really need until a couple of years down the road. If it's just something we want or something might improve us in the future, there are things we actually need that have been turned down, like EVs. I don't think this is the time that we need this. That's my opinion.
Okay. Further comments, Andy?
Yeah, I just want to point out the current issue, this month's issue of OC View, which is something that the Community Association Institute of Orange County puts out every month. They have a public website. There's an article in there about when it comes to security, it takes a community and being completely unpredictable. And you talk about layered security, and these new ideas are fine, but if you lose something, the weakest link in the chain, that's what I'm getting at. And, AI, for example, might say, yeah, that's a good idea. Look at how much money it spends. The devil's in the details, and you may find out that there's a critical thing that you missed. And I would say we got to keep the bad guys out of here. I don't know. And you don't want any kind of leakage. And the human factor is really important. It's, if trained people, it's tough to fool them. And they can react instantly, whereas a machine, you never know. So all I want to say is if you're interested in reading about what's going on, this is online. Community Association Institute of Orange County. Thank you.
Okay. Other comments? Yes. Egan?
Okay. This project is a perfect example of why I asked for the disclaimer. This project was originally came out of GRF without asking or even talking to us or me, because I brought it up. And brought it up at SEAC too. The project was changed and changed and changed again until there was no understanding of it. We ended up with $300,000 for one pilot, which we would never approve. We wouldn't even need $100,000 for what was originally planned. Not only that, we can resolve this issue, and as Martin says, at some time in the future, and we can meet automation and security without any objections. And so I'm just in favor of defunding it, but I just want to point out there are many projects that just morph and get out of control, and then we end up buying something that we don't really benefit from. Thank you.
Okay. Further comments, discussion? If not, we will call the Paul.
We have 4-member comments on this.
All right.
Susan Smallwood.
Thank you. I was really concerned when I first heard about this, and I moved here in 2010 as a widow, and I had a home in Las Vegas at a newer 55 and older community. We had guard gates, but we had one area that was an automatic gate. We had the little emblem up at the top for the gate to open, and of course we had somebody follow in, broke into a home. They were gone on vacation. They found the keys to the car. They loaded up the car, went in and out several times. So I don't think this is a good idea for a senior community, especially with our very older community of seniors. 6 years ago at Gate 7, my rental at 3033, and I was living in, and cul-de-sac 301 and 302, all the cars in those cul-de-sacs, for the most part, had been accessed using some sort of device, unlocking the cars. One unfortunate man left his car keys in his car. The car was stolen. All of our cars were rummaged through. Somebody must have come out and scared them, because out of my husband's car, lots of things were spread across the grass as they're running away. And when I had called security, he suggested that I had not locked my car. You can imagine how I felt. You think all 20 of us didn't lock our car? I'm very good about locking my car because I was keeping golf clubs and all that good stuff. And living with the preserve behind me, as we all know, in other higher-end communities, and we do have some higher-end homes in our area and our other types of condos. And don't forget, we had Chilean gangs, Venezuela gangs, who were coming across the back of the mountains and getting in those homes and stealing. They mainly would go to the master bedroom because that's where they knew people kept their jewelry, money, blah, blah, blah. I hate to see you waste money on this. And the other thing is, how would you keep Amazon delivery people who are subbed out, and to keep them from giving out our guest code? Because I'm not sure how this was going to work. I've been gone. So when I found out about it, I felt like I needed to come in here and just relay some of this information. We've had other cars stolen, golf carts stolen. Does that cut me off?
Yeah, thank you, Susan.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have 3 more speakers.
3 more? Shall we-
Yep, Jean Wrights is next. Is Jean still here? Nope. Okay, we're going to move up to Evelyn Kelly. Nope. Okay, then the last one will be a email then. This is from Deborah and Richard Gordon. We bought our home in Laguna Woods in 2022 after searching for a retirement home for over a year. Safety and security were at the top of our list of features. Health issues and the limitations of aging that we share with everyone make safety and security absolutely paramount. Seniors are a vulnerable, at-risk population. We could have bought a bigger home for less money, but settled here where there are personal gate attendants and very low crime. We understand that the board is seeking ways to lower costs, and we appreciate the effort. Our HOA fees have increased over 25% since 2022, but eliminating gate ambassadors should not even be considered. There are 12,000 homes here, and the yearly cost of gate security is $2 million, and that amounts to 46 cents per day per unit per personal gate security, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Can you find a guard to watch our home for 46 cents a day? We understand that the estimated cost of a new system plus the pilot may be $2 million to capture $240,000 in savings per year. This is just a $20 savings per year for each home, and it will take 8 years to break even before the system has paid for itself. In 8 years, the technology will be obsolete. And then what? We urge you to cease from spending any more time on this ill-devised plan. Thank you.
All right. Okay, are we ready to call the vote? Marie, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marie.
One issue I haven't heard mentioned is that there is, in looking at it as a cost-benefit analysis, I don't know how we would quantify the positive PR that we get from our ambassadors. I think it's very high. I don't know how much it would cost to pay a PR company to give us an equal amount with not being right there at those gates. I think that's something that should be considered. It's very important that these people and the people that greet right out here in front, they are some of our best PR, okay? They really do a great job. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Jim?
See if I know. Let me give an alternative voice. I've lived in 2 retirement communities without gates, and the crime was not an issue. Now, this is a hot button with some homeowners. I'd like to, I don't know if we've done it, or is have a survey to find out how people feel. Because if I'm not mistaken, probably 10% of our budget is on security.
No, it's not that.
But as I say, I think the louder voices worried about security are drowning out the cost-effective issue.
Thank you. Okay. With no further discussion, then, I don't see any hands up. Let's call the vote on this, please. Again, we're just voting to reduce the $300,000 that was initially budgeted as an allocation only, okay? Okay, motion carries. One, who's missing? 6 and 2 are 8. I'm counting 9 on the screen. Oh, I don't need to vote. I don't need to vote, it's me. Me, okay. I don't need to vote. Okay, I'll abstain on this one. Okay. All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we go into either taking a 5-minute break, or we can wander in and out as we need to, and proceed with committee reports. Shall we proceed with everybody ad lib to leave as they? All right, thank you so much. So the first committee report is always our Finance Committee, and Treasurer Ginocchio. How are we doing money-wise?
Yeah, I guess I can't wander out, can I?
No,
I'm
not
on
right
the
now.
spot. Okay. All right, we'll do it. All right. Finance Committee met on August 20th, and we'll present some information. The next meeting is going to be on October 15th at 1:30 in this boardroom. I hope to see some of you here. All right. We're going to cover a series of slides. First slide, first table, includes all revenue and expenses for operating reserves and restricted funds. Through the reporting period of August 31st, GRF had net revenue of $1.9 million, with total revenue of $36.1 million and total expense of $34.2 million. GRF in total was worse, under budget, by $400,000, with revenue worse than budget by $956K, offset by total expense coming in better than budget by $556K. Let's move on to slide 2. The next table displays the operating fund activities, which excludes non-operating revenues, expenses, and depreciation. This report shows a favorable variance of $106,000 in the reporting period, with non-assessment revenue under budget by $231,000 and expenses being better or under budget by $337,000. We'll move on to slide 3. This slide shows our most significant operating fund variances by category, with green bars representing favorable variances to budget and orange bars representing unfavorable items. Let's cover a couple of them. In terms of the favorable, employee comp and related was favorable by $741,000. And this happens every year. It's a trend we have, primarily in general services and landscape. There were open positions in general services, primarily in fleet maintenance. Open positions remain throughout the organization. Recruitment is in process. If you have any acquaintances or friends that are looking for a job, please direct them to our VMS website. We may be able to help them. Other operating expense was favorable by $170,000, primarily due to the timing of staff support usage across various departments. It's a technical kind of item. You really can't trace it back, but it's a mechanical item, and it's a timing thing. Additionally, timing of planned staff training programs compared to budget spread contributed to the favorable variance. In other words, they didn't occur when they were planned to occur. And a lot of these things are spread evenly versus being lumpy, and timing differences do happen. Finally, in the favorable items, repairs and maintenance were favorable by $117,000, primarily due to the timing of payment for various IT-related subscriptions and licensing for cybersecurity. Very important. Additionally, fleet maintenance switched bus engines from diesel to gasoline, a very expensive process. but it'll give us flexibility. Diesel's not as available as gasoline. Let's go into the unfavorable variances. Broadband services revenue was unfavorable by $260,000, primarily due to revenue for set-top boxes being lower than anticipated as streaming becomes more popular in the community. I just want to point out next year's operating budget has more than $400,000 loss or taken away from it because of these set boxes, which we're not going to need. So our broadband experts are working out a way to replace that revenue as long as it gives value to our residents. We're just not going to hit them for that. Next, we go on to cost allegations. Again, unfavorable by $294,000 due to fleet management allocating out less costs to GRF departments that utilize the services. As fleet maintenance runs a favorable variance in areas such as labor and fuel costs, it allocates less costs to other departments. So that's just a mechanical thing. So keep doing it. Keep saving money. All right. Finally, outside services were unfavorable by $411,000, primarily in building maintenance due to unanticipated electrical and lighting repairs at various clubhouses. In addition, janitorial invoices were paid out of outside services. However, the expense is budgeted in repairs and maintenance. We probably can make a correcting entry. I'll have to ask Steve Hormuth about that, but again, it's just artificial. Let's move to slide 4. This slide shows sources of revenue other than the assessment, such as fees and rentals. Year to date, we earned $7.7 million in non-assessment operating fund revenue, as shown on this pie chart. We can see that our largest revenue category is broadband services, which includes internet, set-top boxes, ad insertion, and premium channels, followed by golf revenue. Other revenue includes class fees, electric vehicle charging revenue, additional occupant fees, equestrian center fees, and RV storage fees, among others. Clubhouse rentals and event fees and merchandise sales. These revenue categories offset costs and help keep assessments down. The big challenge to this board and to future boards is to deliver value to our residents at the best possible price. And these items reflect adjustments to try to do that. Finally, we'll look at slide 5. Consistent with prior months, our largest operating fund expense is employee comp and related, followed by outside services expense. Of the $30.7 million, excluding depreciation, which is a non-cash outlay, these categories account for 65% of the total operating costs. In other words, people, 65%. Cable programming, franchise fees, insurance, professional, legal, utilities, and fuel make up most of the remaining 35%. Let's move on to slide 6. This deals with the reserve funds and restricted funds. Starting with the first column on the left, reserve funds have a combined ending balance of $47.8 million. Restricted fund balances have an ending balance of $2.8 million. Included in these totals are contributions received in 2025 through assessments, trust facility fees, the resale fee, and investment earnings. The second column shows the work in progress of $17.7 million for reserves and 0 for restricted, reflecting the amounts paid for projects not yet completed but contracted for. The third column represents resulting adjusted fund balances of $30.1 million for reserves and $2.8 million for restricted. At this time, I want to point out that because of broadband continuing expenditures, that reserve balance is going to decrease considerably in 2026, but it'll still be within what we feel are adequate amounts for reserve balances. Let's go on to slide 7. This slide shows the resale history from 2023 to 2025. Community-wide sales totaled 497 year-to-date. Most of these transactions generate the trust facilities fee, transfer fee, used as a resource of revenue for our reserves. Some of them don't because there's a 6-month window in which people in the community can flip a property to another property in the community without being charged for another resale fee. Finally, slide 8. The listing on this slide gives you an idea where the reserve money is committed. Of the $29.8 million appropriated by the board for various project and equipment purchases, the remaining encumbrances against our reserve funds is $12.2 million, primarily for fiber improvements and work at GRF facilities. Again, we're going to spend a considerable amount of money in 2026. And that completes my, one more slide, sorry. Slide 9. We compare our adjusted fund balances to historical balances for the past 5 years, and it shows the GRF has averaged $30.1 million in reserve funds and $2.8 million contingency funds. Again, broad demand is going to affect those negatively, but still we'll be at a comfortable level in our reserve funds. Thank you.
Okay, Andy, you've got some more committees to talk about, I believe. Who's next? CAC, Ellen, okay. I'm sorry, I lost my page here. Go ahead.
CAC will go next. I think that's it. The CAC meets on October 9th, which is Thursday at 1:30. We are discussing the recreation policy. We've been discussing it for a few months. We want to make sure we get it right and that we don't miss anything. So if you want to come and sit in the meeting or contribute, you're welcome, and that's 1:30 here in the boardroom on Thursday the 9th. Thank you.
Landscape? Kush, is there anything from landscape?
Actually, one moment. The last landscape meeting was done in June, on June 16, 2025, and that was probably explained by the previous chair. But now, the next meeting is on November 17th in the boardroom at 1:30 p.m. So please be present if you'd like to participate. Thank you very much.
Maintenance and construction? Egon?
Yeah, Maintenance and Construction Committee meets the coming Wednesday, which is 2 days from now, at 9:30 right here in the boardroom. Thank you.
Gary is not with us. I'll tell you a little about space planning. We're having a long-awaited meeting on October the 20th, and all of this was hinged on essential information that has now come to us and is available. Members of the committee have gotten a big multi-page package of the report that was done by Cardosa on Building E that showed that it is no longer a savable building in its current state. We have also had the vote from our corporate members on the expenditure of $4 million or more on a solution to Building E. So in that committee meeting, we will have some real meat to chew on, which we have not had until this point. So October 20th it is. And let's see, broadband is next.
Yes, I believe that the August 18th broadband meeting was an open meeting, not closed. And our next meeting is tomorrow afternoon, an open meeting. And so we will not be going up against the Coyotes meeting that we did last time. So I'm hoping that we have some turnout tomorrow afternoon. And now that we're into the installations in residence, we can get into the nitty-gritty details of how things are going and go from there. Thank you.
Okay, Gary's absent for M&V. Egon, Security and Community Access. You've had a busy day so far.
All right, Security Committee met almost 2 months ago, and we're meeting again on the 22nd of October here in the boardroom at 1:30 in the afternoon. And we will try to have an interesting meeting. Thank you.
Ellen?
Traffic hearings, we meet every month, and tickets are being issued, so stop sign tickets are the big one. And it is a closed meeting, so unless you're on the ticket list, you can't attend, but it's October 15th. Thank you.
Likewise, the executive hearings are a closed meeting. And again, I will tell you, we are a very well behaved community. We have very, very few cases every month. We're often out of there in an hour and a half, an hour or so, all the cases presented and resolved. So that's good news that people are behaving themselves. And you have the last two, Martin.
Yeah, I certainly do. The Disaster Preparedness Task Force met last week, and we're getting ready for this shakeout that's going to occur on October 16th at 10:16, and so that's where we'll simulate a time of a near earthquake, and we are at a place where I believe that security will be inspecting clubhouses to man the clubhouses, to man the radios, and we'll be doing a radio test for the first time, and hoping that, because now we've got the antennas all, the system all up and running the way it should be. And so I think there's a captain, or there's a block captain's cul-de-sac meeting coming up.
Now.
When is it?
Right now.
Oh, it's going on now. That's right. It's at 10 o'clock. How we got that right, that was good. At any rate, then next meeting is on November 25th. And then the ITAC committee meeting, we had a meeting on August 29th, a closed meeting, and the next and last meeting probably for ITAC will be October 31, and I might need some help with one of my directors who are on that committee, because, Kush, I think, are you on that committee? Yeah, because I'm going to be in Indonesia on that at that time, so I'm going to need some help in running that at any rate. And so I'll miss the next board meeting here that we have, so thank you.
Okay, you mean you don't want to tune in at 1 a.m. from Indonesia? Okay, thank you all for those committee reports, and the written reports are available, of course, for anyone who has a serious boredom problem. At this point, we will take director's comments going around the horseshoe. You want to start, Kush? Any comments to wrap up our meeting before we recess?
Well, welcome to our new board member, Jay. Welcome. And nothing different, so that's it.
Egon?
No comment, thank you.
Martin?
Good meeting.
No comment.
I have one comment, and that's because Gary Durst, unfortunately, is not here today on the Energy Subcommittee. You know, people tell you, don't buy something just because it's on sale. Well, it's generally true, but our federal government, through I think the end of 27, is giving us 40% credit, actually cash credit for HOAs, a nonprofit. They'll give us cash back for certain energy-saving projects, and we're continuing to look at ground-level solar. We've got a lot of vacant land. GRF owns a lot of vacant land, particularly along Campo Verde on the other side of El Toro. And Gary's looking at that very seriously. It's big money. We could save easily over $500,000 a year for maybe spending less than $4 million. And we have to convince our corporate members that that's makes sense, and we're going to try to do that. But in the community, please know that we are trying to save money on energy, and ground-level solar is one way to do it. We hope you support us if we give you the right reasons for doing so. Thank you.
Manahar? Okay. Marie?
Yes, I would like to encourage everyone to work harder at keeping the laundry room doors closed, especially after 5 p.m. And if there are any others, like in our clubhouse houses, if there are doors that should be closed, keep the doors closed. Okay.
Jim? Nothing? Okay. Well, thank you all. At this point, we will recess and have a closed session start. It is now by 12:20 or so. 12:15 we'll restart. Thank you. Recessed.
Good job.
Thank you.